When the podcast was first launched, I got a topic request from an Instagram follower, and it was, what are the benefits and importances of traveling via self-care and cultural experiences? Which is a great question. So I asked the wellness travel expert herself, Stephanie Rest, CEO of Caribbean Wellness and Education, to dive into this one with me. So listen in to hear how Stephanie became a pro in wellness travel, and also why we both think traveling intentionally with a cultural experience in mind can actually help change the world. And if you aren't sure where to even begin with wellness and cultural travel, we're talking all about that too. Y'all, we are covering big stuff in this episode, so tune in.
Hey y'all, I'm Bailie, the owner and founder of Be the Travel. It's the business I started to help bring my clients' dream travel bees to life. Whether they wanted to be inspired, be adventurous, be unplugged, or just be together with their loved ones in a beautiful destination, I wanted to serve them by taking the stressors of travel planning off of their plate. Right now, you're listening to Be the Travel Podcast, the place where I bring you my supplier and partner relationships, industry knowledge, and professional travel tips that I've accumulated along the way. Hopefully you'll listen in and find yourself even a little bit more inspired to create a travel bee of your own, whatever that might look like to you. Hello, Miss Stephanie. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Bailie. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, for everybody listening in, I asked Stephanie. She is a colleague turned friend in the travel industry, and I just love her so much. But Stephanie, will you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and kind of how you got your start in the travel industry.
Sure. I'm Stephanie Rest. I'm founder and CEO of Caribbean Wellness and Education. I started in the travel industry, hospitality industry, very honestly, like most of us do. I grew up on a golf course, country club, and was just always, working in the industry, cleaning golf balls, delivering golf carts, and then kind of found a passion, went to school, and progressed from there.
Very, very fun. So let's talk a little bit more about your business. When did you actually start Caribbean We?
I started Caribbean We almost 4 years ago. We'll have our first anniversary. I was living in Turks and Caicos and managing a 5-star spa there at a resort, and learning the Caribbean and all of its opportunities, decided to kind of create something that could be an association and community of sorts for professionals in the industry.
Okay, wait. Let's back up. How did you go from golf balls to living in Turks and Caicos?
Yeah, right. So, kind of put myself through college. I started in finance in New York, and then got to work at some of the best 4-star and 5-star resorts in the U.S. as a spa coordinator, then spa manager and spa director. Moved around the U.S., opening spas for a couple of years. Was working at a place in North Carolina and got recruited to relocate and relaunch an amazing spa in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos.
Wow, not a bad place to live, huh?
It was pretty amazing. I went for a year and I fell in love with it and did it for 4.
Okay, so obviously the common denominator there that everybody heard was spa. So what is, talk a little bit more about like the whole purpose behind your business, and like what is your, because a lot of my listeners are just really interested in all the different facets of the travel industry as a whole. So what does your, like, I hate to say day by day because no 2 days in the industry are the exact same, but kind of like what is your week by week, a day in the job or a day in the life of Stephanie Rest? What does that look like?
Oh my gosh, it's so different. And that's the kind of like you risk and reward of being on your own, is that no 2 days are the same. Um, you know, it's really cool that I get to, one, travel to some of the most amazing places. And we've been really concentrated on putting together authentic familiarization trips for professionals and agents so we can all get to know our industry a little bit better. But by day just varies. It's connecting mainly with people in the industry and helping them grow their businesses however we can. We do put on some professional events. We've started to put on travel events so people like you that are working in the industry can connect with colleagues and take their business to another level and also learn about the region a little more.
I love it. It's so fun. I love what you do. So the reason, everybody, that I asked Stephanie to join my podcast was because I had a listener question come through Instagram, and they wanted us to unpack the benefits and importance of traveling via self-care and cultural experiences. And as soon as I saw that come through, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to Stephanie about this. So I really want to unpack both of those things, like wellness travel and cultural experiences, with Stephanie. So wellness travel right now is a really fast growing trend right now in the industry. Why do you think that is, Stephanie?
It's funny because about 90% of wellness travelers are secondary travelers. So they're not necessarily traveling for the purpose of wellness, but they're seeking a wellness experience why they travel. And I think that is because we have just gotten so cognizant that in our daily lives, we have our rituals of working out or meditation or yoga or juices or trying to eat healthy. And, to go on vacation now and go to an all-inclusive and binge eat and binge drink and not really keep up with that routine, we're seeing that people don't necessarily want to do that. So maybe you're not traveling specifically for wellness, but you still want to stay on your same path. And it's now almost a $500 billion industry.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's actually
Yeah.
where I first met you, was a wellness fam that you put on, which was amazing.
Right. And it's so fun. Like you can still have fun and still have those same experiences that tie to your lifestyle.
Exactly, because wellness to me might mean something completely different to you, which is why partnering with people like you in the industry is so important, because I feel like you're going to see it all as a whole, right? So a wellness retreat might mean yoga, and to somebody else it might mean just relaxation, right? What is your favorite avenue of wellness travel?
Really getting somebody on a new cool experience. Like when we were in Belize, the wellness familiarization trip you speak of is my favorite highlight was one when you got to see the sea turtles and kind of rehabilitate those. And we didn't contrive that at all. That was just an experience that happened natural on the beach. And sustainability and taking care of our environment is such an important part of being self-aware and wellness. And then two, when we did the zip lining in Belize, because we're literally going through the jungle and hiking upstairs, and then we floated through this beautiful lake at the end. So those experiences that are authentic to the destination, but also wellness kind of uncontrived things that get people out of their comfort zone and into the destination are definitely my favorite things to do.
I think I have to agree with you. And I remember that night with the turtles, me and Caroline were like, she couldn't have planned this any better. Like, who knew that the turtles were going to hatch and then get lost trying to find themselves to the ocean? And we helped. It was like the best thing ever. It was the
Right?
perfect way to start the trip.
And I wish I could take credit, but I was stuck in the airport, I think, somewhere.
That's right. You weren't even there yet.
I wasn't there yet. But to me, that's one of the top things you could do. It's so cool.
Very neat. And so, let's switch gears. Cultural
Sure.
experiences was the second half of that
Yeah.
question. So obviously, in a perfect world, a cultural experience would be a part of every, travel experience, but it's not always the case. Why do you think cultural experiences are so important when traveling?
Phew. I mean, this is a loaded question, and I'm probably not going to answer it in a popular way, but to me, when you travel on a cruise trip and you see, 3 to 6 destinations in a week, or however long you're traveling, and you only get off on a cruise port and you go to some really commercialized areas, you're not really getting to see the authenticity of the destination or the people. And to me, what makes my travel experiences the most important is really getting to know. I always say I fall in love with the people first and the destination second. So getting to know the local customs, music, food, um, and really being enthralled in that destination is life changing, because it opens our eyes, and it changes our preconceived notions of what a destination can be. I mean, I could list a million examples, but really, staying at a proper resort that gets you out, that gets you to experience these things, or even Airbnb if you're adventurous, or traveling on your own, with research and knowledge and a proper travel advisor, um, are just really, to me, the proper way to get to know and see a destination. And maybe you first discover it because you've been on a cruise ship and you got off for a day, half day or something like that. But go back and really dive in and take that time. To me, it can change your life.
It can change your life, and I'm really big on the idea that it can change the world for the better in a lot of ways, because the media does a really good job of making it seem like our world is a really scary place, but it's the people who are out in the world traveling, having these cultural experiences and getting to know, like you said, the people. That's when you start to see that there's a lot of good in this world, and it's not quite as scary as the media likes to make it seem. And it makes the world, it makes you feel a lot closer with, you're relating to these people on a human level.
Absolutely. And the more you travel, the more you feel and realize we all have the same thing in common. We all care about our families. We all care about, having a basic standard of living. And for the most part, everybody has that same common goal. And we can all learn so much from each other.
Absolutely. What's your favorite cultural experience you've ever had when traveling?
I have a ton, but a really weird one is probably about 10 years ago. I went to a conference in Morocco, and I stayed outside of Casablanca at the Magazan Resort, and I met a local, and she said, "Oh, you can take the train from Casablanca to Marrakesh." And so I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't, necessarily plan or realize that, number one, no one speaks English. Like, their secondary language is French. And to use the thing to even get the train ticket. And then I realized I was on a train with like goats and chickens, and it was like the slow moving train. But what was cool is, like, I had my iPad, and the only thing people could say based on your politics is, do you know Obama? Do you know Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, that's what they knew. And they were so excited to be on this train with me. And there was a little woman with her kids that was traveling, and like, everybody was so friendly. I mean, I realized I could take, $40, take a private car later to get from both.
Right.
But that was just such a cool cultural experience, and the fact that I did it on my own, it really surprised me and kind of cultivated some adventure and travel.
Absolutely. I can see you on that train, like calm, cool, and collected. I remember when we were in Belize and we were doing the zip line adventure that you were talking about earlier.
Right.
And what was his name? The man that was kind of leading our excursion. They're amazing there. But he took your phone, like he was going to record a video for you going over
Right.
the river, and
Yeah.
acted like he dropped it. And we were all in on it, and we were like, Stephanie's going to freak. And you were like, it's okay. It's fine. I'll get another phone. No big deal. And like, it was so funny. I was like, that is so Stephanie.
Right. I was just worried he was going to get in trouble. I'm like, it's okay. It's why we have insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Where
We'll be
me in that moment would have been like, what am I going to do without my phone? I'm traveling right now. I need my phone.
I know. I have a funny story about Belize too. I took a rental car one time, and in the US or different places, when we take a rental car, whenever you turn it back, it's okay. And I told them like 3 days, and here it is 5 days later, and I extended at Naya Resort where we were at, and I never called them. By the time I got into the rental place, they're like, girl, where have you been? We're about to call the police to open up an investigation, and you changed your point of where you were staying, and like, that's typically how I travel. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't think about other people sometimes.
They're like, we lost her. She's gone.
She's off the grid.
So how do you think, I mean, talking about these cultural experiences, when somebody wants to like be intentional about a lot of it, it just happens because of life, right? Like it's just serendipity and you kind of just like see where life takes you. But if somebody wanted to be intentional about wellness travel or cultural travel, like how can they go about creating that kind of trip for themselves?
For sure. Working with an experienced travel agent too, like I'm sure you love to get these inbound requests where you get to curate something really beautiful for someone. Um, you know, Anybody can kind of, well, not anybody, always book with an experienced travel agent, but there's some people in the industry that do it really well. So I think just kind of first deciding what kind of experience you want to have. What are your top, that's kind of where I guide people, like, what kind of destination do you like? Do you like a quieter destination? Are you looking for beaches? Are you looking for diving? Are you looking for more entertainment and restaurants? Just kind of guiding people around that. And then, going with a travel agent that can book that for you and really curate something beautiful is what I would suggest.
That's so true. Yeah. I love when people come to me, number one, leave some creative liberty up to crafting the itinerary, but more so, I love when people come to me rather than a list of, we have to see this, we have to see this. Here's a screenshot of a picture I saw on Instagram. I want to take this picture as well. And instead saying, we want to feel really relaxed. Here's why. Or we want to be really adventurous here. We want to do something together that's going to put us out of our comfort zone, but not necessarily something specific, but just leaving that, up to an expert as a travel advisor, their partners in the industry that we rely on. I think that that's a really key part of going into the planning process.
Exactly. And you kind of don't know what you don't know. Like seeing the most popular photo on Instagram, like, okay, you want your photo there, but your travel advisor may have something that you have never even thought about. So you could be, the social influencer from wherever your travel advisor is going to send you,
Right.
and what you're going to experience. Yeah.
Right. So in a nutshell, what can someone expect to gain if they want to leave, like you said, the cruises or the really cookie cutter all-inclusive resorts? They want to leave that behind for more of a cultural or wellness based experience. What's, from your experience, what are they going to take away from that?
Well, number one, I think that if you're traveling with a family or your spouse or a group or whomever, you're going to build some bonding skills because it's going to be a little out of your comfort zone. And I think that's really cool. Like when you get out on these excursions with trusted professionals, or you're a little off the beaten path and you're not just all at the same resort and everybody has their space. Two, you're going to have some life experiences that you can come back and, if you're living a 9 to 5, don't try to escape your life. Just see that as a continuation of living your life and more experiences that are going to evolve you as a person. It's like really amazing. And one other thing I would say too, we didn't touch on, is philanthropy. When you travel, like there's so many opportunities to get out there and give back. And when you get it back into the communities of these smaller nations that you travel to, and you're eating in the local restaurants or you're going on the excursions, it's more supporting their tourism as well and allowing these small business owners to thrive. So stimulating their economy could be another way that you look at it as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when you talk about just like how much it influences, because a lot of these countries really depend on the tourism dollars, and I think that maybe trying to get outside of your comfort zone too, you realize how much more it can affect the families that live in these places. I'm thinking specifically about, all that happens in the media and these specific countries where people just say like, oh, I saw this in the news, I don't want to go there anymore. And when everybody in the States has that mentality, and they're going off of, like clickbait headlines, they don't understand, what it's doing to the people over there, the families over there, the people who are trying to support their families. So I think just like also arming yourself with knowledge and knowing, what is safe and what is not, and what is the media, blowing something up. I mean, I think it's really, really important for these people that live over, in any smaller country. It does so much good for them when we go and spend our travel dollars with them.
Absolutely. And to touch on one point of a destination that's been adversely affected recently is the Dominican Republic. And, they see so many travelers a year, like I want to say 10 million. So yes, people do, die on vacation, but not to some great effect. So I can't think of the exact site now, but Travel Alliance has started a site. I think it is travelmyths.org, because of the way the media really is just this clickbait. We get a news story, let's ride it till it dies, type of media that there are sites where you can find out what is truly going on.
Yeah, I heard about that as well on their podcast. And when I started to say what I was saying earlier, I was thinking about the DR specifically, and it's happened to many, many places in the world, but just most recently, yeah, the DR. I mean, there's people going over there still and everything's fine. Sometimes the media will blow it up into something that it's not. I mean, there's just so much more that goes on, and it's such a sensitive topic. But yes, I mean, checking your facts, and really knowing what you're viewing in the media.
And that that these destinations are huge destinations that have been welcoming travelers, for many, many years, and quite a bit of travelers. So just looking at the volume versus what could be happening in specific circumstances, I think is important too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what else do we want to touch on before we wrap up, Stephanie? Wellness and cultural travel. What are any last thoughts?
I don't know. I think, trusting a travel advisor is one, to do your research, to plan your vacation, to kind of make it seamless, and to being open to getting off the grid and trying some new places. You can definitely, if you're on a budget, you can do it affordably. All-inclusive is not always the most affordable way to vacation. There's a lot of affordable, properties out there and experiences, and you should definitely get to know a destination while you're there.
Absolutely. It'll make the world a better place.
I agree.
Well, thanks so much, Stephanie. I had fun talking with you today.
You too. Thanks for hooking this up.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope that you loved what you heard today. And if you did, share it with a friend. Take a screenshot of this episode and send it to them so that they can listen in too. Or post it to your Instagram story and tag us at BeTheTravelgram. Or write a comment below and let us know what you think. Your support means the whole big, beautiful world to Be The Travel. And until next time, happy travels.